Hello everyone and welcome to another installment of RJG Games. So it's been a while. I've only released one video so far this year. I kind of might be going back to a one video a month. Don't quote me on that. It might not be the case, but as of right now, last month actually I started a new job. So it's the job itself is not that demanding. It's just a couple of things about it that are a little stressful. But overall, the job itself is fairly easy. But it was basically this last month was me getting used to that. So I'm kind of at that point where it's like, okay, it's a routine now, so I can actually start making a little more time for these videos. And not a whole lot. Well, actually, it really depends to you whether I'm going to be reporting a whole lot from what I reported during the last video. And today, actually, I want to talk about a couple of different things. And you might be wondering, what is this monstrosity right here in front of me? Well, I'm going to talk about this as a Laserdisc player. Now, a few videos back, I talked about media, video media, how it evolved through the days, VHS, moving on to discs, and then the different kind of discs. And I believe because I was talking specifically about mini discs during that video. Well, I touched on the Laserdisc, but I didn't put this one on display. So here it is. This is what a Laserdisc looks like. And I know a lot of people nowadays are probably going to ask me, why would you have a Laserdisc player if pretty much every movie ever releases already out on DVD, if not Blu-ray already? Well, the thing is that there are some videos that never got a release on DVD and still don't have a release in Blu-ray, and even further less, don't even have a release in streaming. And I'm going to show you one of those videos right now. And this is it, the Song of the South. After years and years of looking for this video, I finally was able to find a good copy. The only copies I ever got a hold of these in the past were basically ended up being bootleg DVDs. Back about 15 years ago, I didn't do my research, and you get rumors going around saying, oh yeah, in Paris they released the Song of the South on DVD, and before Disney decided to put this in the vault and pretty much never to be released ever again. So I went online on eBay and I bought, I tried a couple of different sites because the first one I ordered was obviously a bootleg. And then I ordered another one that said legitimate copy and was also a bootleg. So I gave up on finding these a long time ago until I started traveling to Japan back in 2010. And I looked for this every time I went to Japan, and I couldn't find it because I knew that in Japan they released a Laserdisc of this. Now, this is the best quality version of this movie you will ever find out there. And back in the day, if you guys remember, when buying VHS and early on DVDs, they didn't go through a digital restoration process. A lot of these movies were just taken from the best film stock they had and transferred directly either into VHS or DVD. And you can see the scratches and the discoloration. There was no restoration process whatsoever. This is pretty much what the deal is with this as well. It was just a direct transfer from the whatever best stock Disney had at the time of their 35 millimeter onto this, and that's it. It has scratches, there's issues with the sound, but again, this is the best quality video of this movie that you will find out there. Now, as I mentioned in the past video, Laserdisc is analog, it's not digital. So again, you don't have all that nice digital quality on it. It's analog, 480 interlaced. So I was able to watch this, and I used an upscaler to be able to watch it on my HD TV, and it brought back a lot of childhood memories. It's like there might be issues, political issues, racial issues with this movie and everything, but it still doesn't fall short from being a really good artistic masterpiece when it comes to the art portrayed in this, and it's got some of the best Disney songs, Zippity Doo Dah and Happy Place. Two of my favorite Disney songs of all time. So the reason I have a Laserdisc player is because there are other movies out there that also never got a DVD or a Blu-ray release, and you can only watch them on Laserdisc. So keeping one of these around is definitely handy. Now, I do collect Laserdiscs. They don't have to be rare. Like, for example, sometimes I will find something like this, an unopened copy of Escape from LA. And honestly, this movie got a lot of flack when it came out. It's like not being as good as Escape from New York. I like this movie, honestly. I just really love it. And I like both of them, actually, Escape from New York and Escape from LA. There was going to be a third interpretation, a third release for this movie. It was going to be a trilogy. And the third movie was going to be Escape from Earth, which never came to be because this movie performed so poorly in the box office. Now, I am optimistic and hopeful that one day it might get actually a release, since a lot of movies nowadays, even when their predecessors in the past didn't perform as good in the box office, have gotten a cult following where studios have been to the point of saying, let's give the sequel a shot. And I'd rather have a sequel than a reboot or a reimagined release. I would definitely like to see Snake Plissken out in action one more time. All right, so moving on to my collectibles, like my Transformers. And this right here is Optimal Optimus. Now, for those you Transformer fans from the late 90s, you might remember a series on TV called Beast Wars. And that was basically a continuation of the Transformers universe. And this, by far, is my favorite Transformer from that series. And I had this. I bought this when it first came out back in around 1999. I went to a Toys R Us. I was doing, back then, cable modem installations. That's what I used to do around that time. And I took a lunch break, went to a Toys R Us, and they just happened to have them. And it was a big box. You can imagine the box. It was really big. Years later, when I moved to Florida, I sold a lot of my things. It really hurts. Gave away a lot of my comic book collection. That hurts even more. But I was never able to find this figure again, boxed or unboxed, until years later. In the last couple of years, the Transformers have resurfaced, as you can tell by my Transformer collection there. And I started little by little buying them again. But this one in particular, it's very expensive in the box, $200 and more if you buy it mint in box. Even loose like this, I see them go for $60 and up. I was lucky enough to be able to get this one for $15. And when I got it in the mail, I was pleasantly surprised to see in what good condition it is. It's like they took really good care of this, minus some missing accessories, which are very minimal, which I will keep an eye out to be able to find online and buy them little by little to complete it. But they're like basically 8 pieces that are missing to complete it. But as his robot form, it's pretty much complete. It's pretty much to go. And so I was very, very fortunate to be able to find this open box for such a low price. Very happy with it. Now, as you can tell, I have a GameCube here. And the reason I have the GameCube here is because I will be modding this. And I have the mod chip. It is called the Sino mod chip. And actually, this arrived today. Otherwise, I would have had this up and running already. And what this does, basically, it unlocks it. I do have to open it up and solder it in. But basically, it makes it region-free, allows it to be able to read SD cards. And the way that I'm going about that, let me put Optimus over here, is I purchased this, which connects to the serial port number 2, which is faster than the serial port number 1. And and here it is. It's this little adapter right here, and you can put an SD card in it. Now, I got this in the mail before I even got the Sino mod chip. So I already loaded a few games on there, so it's kind of ready to go. And it's very easy to install. You just drop it in there in the serial port interface. and close it up. I'm very excited, very happy that I got that today. Now, during the week, I actually, the last couple of weeks, I've been finding some pretty good stuff online and in Goodwill. And one of the things I found at Goodwill was this 4K HD version of Wreck-It Ralph. Um, Ralph Breaks the Internet. And for sequels for Pixar, I'm very picky. I mean, I've loved every sequel from Toy Story, but not necessarily from other movies. Like, you guys might hate me for this, but The Incredibles 2, I did not like. I went to the theater, I saw it in theaters. It just didn't really capture my attention. This movie, however, wow, I really enjoyed it, really loved it. So I was very excited when I went to Goodwill down in Anaheim and was able to find this steel shrink wrap. This is from Target. It comes with a nice little book in it, which is right here. I don't want to take it out really, but I'll pull it up just a little bit for you guys to see right there. And that's the digital code, and that's the book. A little art book that comes with it. And there we go. And here's the movies, the 4K version and the Blu-ray version right there. I was very, very happy to see this. And that brings me on to this nice little purchase I made. Now, I bought this at Downtown Disney, and the reason I bought it is because this is one of my favorite scenes from Ralph Breaks the Internet. I'm going to move these out of the way. Right here. And these were at Downtown Disney. They came out right before the holidays, and I went and I saw it, and it was it wasn't inexpensive. Let me put it that way. And it was to the point where it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna wait a little bit and come back and probably buy it using my annual pass discount. Well, by the time I went back ready to buy it, it was gone. After the holidays, some of you might have heard the announcement that Disney made that Disneyland, not Disney World, but Disneyland has ended their annual pass holder program. They are going to come out with something different. I don't know what they're going to call it, but basically, this is it. And for those of us who were still active on March 14th when the parks closed, we have been kind of given a title of Legacy Annual Pass Holders. And what does that mean? There's going to be some perks that go with that. One of them is that from the time they made the announcement up until February 28th, the last day of this month, we have a 30% discount on merchandise and food at Downtown Disney here at the Disneyland Resort. And that's only good from Monday through Thursday. So it doesn't apply on the weekends, which is fine because I'm off on Mondays, and because of this job I got, I'm usually off fairly early in the day. That gives me time to be able to go down there. Now, last week my friend went there on a Tuesday, and she spotted that they had restocked, but they didn't have that many left. She offered to buy me one, but I was like, well, if she gets it for me, I'm going to get it full price. But if I go down there and get it, I can get my Legacy Annual Pass Holder discount. So I risked it. I told her, I'm going to wait till tomorrow. Fingers crossed, maybe they'll still be there. That way I can get my 30% off. So I went down the next day. They met up with me, and we went into the Studio Backlot store in Disney California Adventure, and they still had, there were two on the shelf, so I grabbed the better looking one, which was this one. Was able to get it with my discount. Very lucky, because these aren't even on the Shop Disney website anymore, which means that whatever's out there left, that's it. They're probably not going to restock these. And like I was saying in Ralph Breaks the Internet, this is definitely one of my favorite scenes of the whole movie. So being able to get these, very nice collectible. I got to figure out a place to display it. I really want to display these back here somewhere. But as you can see, I'm running out of room. So, all right, moving on. More movies, more finds. This one right here I found. By the way, all these were still shrink wrapped. when I got them. I got this at Goodwill. Again, really good price. These right here I found on, I believe it was on OfferUp. I was able to get them all three, shrink wrap, never opened, for $10. And the cool thing is, when I went to pick these up, the guy had the all the Star Trek movies with the original cast and Star Wars, the episodes 1 through 6 on Blu-ray. And while I was picking these up, he made me an offer to get those for an additional $10. I couldn't say no. It was just a deal to get to be able to get these. Specifically because I had the Star Trek movies with the original cast 2 through 6, but missing, of course, the first one, the motion picture, and the fifth one, the Final Frontier. So now I have them all, and very happy with that. I'm almost have a complete Star Trek collection from the original series all the way up to, so far, I want to say Enterprise. So got Deep Space Nine, I have Voyager, I have the movies with the Next Generation, I have Star Trek: The Next Generation. I just got to get Discovery and Picard, and Lower Decks whenever that gets released. So I put these away here to talk about other finds I got. I was able to get this Game Boy Advance and this Game Boy Color. Now, this Game Boy Color originally came in this case, and all that was missing was the backplate for the batteries, and I was going to order that online. I ran for about $3, and then I saw that someone was selling these cases. These are 3D printed, and I mean, they do a really good job with the sticker on the back and everything. And I know it's not an original case, but it's like, I wanted to do this specifically because the buttons on this one didn't work. The rubbers on the back to make contact with the actual logic board just weren't working anymore. And by ordering this, I was able to get all that brand new, all that goodies inside. It came with a cover. It was only $10 online. So with the cover in that, and I was able to do a mod for it, which is something I have been wanting to do for a while. But this time around, I finally did it. So I added the LED front light to this, and it looks great. I love it. And also, the speaker on it didn't work, so I was able to order one online. And at the same time, I ordered this, replaced that. So now I get sound out of it. It's pretty cool. So let me turn this one off. This one works great. It was also missing the backplate, but I happen to have a clear one handy. I do want to order a black one for it to cover it up, but for now, that's nice right there. Also works. But the thing about this is that I had the same issue that I had with this one with the buttons. So I got to open it up, clean it up, and then see if the contacts on them are bad, to where I might need to order those online to replace them. Now for this one, I do want to keep the case, but I do want to buy a replacement front cover for this because this one's really scratched up. It looks really bad. And I want to see if, I'm pretty sure there's a mod of front light for this one as well, to be able to light it up like I did with this one. But I do want to keep the original case just by the upper color back to be able to use this. Now, another thing, I don't have it out here. I did recently acquired through Facebook Marketplace a record player, a vinyl record player. And a lot of you might figure why vinyl, and there are certain things from my childhood that I do like to listen to. Now, I'm sure I can find these online to be able to get them on digital. But there's something about vinyl analog sound that just doesn't sound the same from digital. It's not the same. There's just something about it, the nostalgia of it, the sound of it. It just takes me back to the days when I was a kid and I was able to listen to these soundtracks at home growing up. And I'm still able to find a lot of records out there in really good condition. Look at this one, still shrink wrap. This is from Bruce Willis's and Sybil Shepherd's TV show Moonlighting. This is before he did Die Hard. So, in really good condition, really good soundtrack. Was able to find this actually at a thrift shop over 10 years ago, and I just barely was able to play it today. I had this when I was a kid, and it might still be back home. I just got to dig for it, but being able to find this at a thrift shop here, I just jumped on it and bought it. And the only thing about when you buy things in thrift shops, sometimes they're not in the best condition, as you can tell right there. Now, the good thing is that it's at the part of the soundtrack that doesn't contain any music. And pretty much everything on this side plays without skipping. The problem is this side. And I don't know if you can tell, it's really badly scratched. So there's only I believe 3 tracks on this side that I can listen to without an issue. Everything else skips really bad. So let me put this back in here. And this one here also I was able to find. This one I got at a Salvation Army down in Santa Monica. My sister was a big fan of Richard Clayton when I was growing up. I think she had every album this guy put out. And really good music, really good. I mean, one of the artists from the 80s that still stands out to this day. You can check him out online. He actually had a concert last year, right before the pandemic hit. And I was able to find that, be able to play it, and just brought back memories of when I was growing up. And my sister would play this in her room, and playing in my room with this music in the background. So it's one of those things that why I like to hang on to old technology, like a Laserdisc player. Now, as of recently, there's been a very big shortage of computer parts out there. This was brought on by AMD and NVIDIA, especially with AMD releasing the new series of processors, the 5000 series AMD Ryzen processors. And that kind of created a demand for processors. The 5000 series got released. There's not enough supply to meet the demand, so that's caused previous release processors, the 2 and the 3000 series, for the prices to go up. And the same thing has happened with video cards. NVIDIA released the 30 series video cards, starting with the 3090, the RTX 3090, the 3080, the 3070, and most recently the 3060. There hasn't been enough supply to meet the demand, and that has caused previous generation video cards to go skyrocket high. It's at this point, it's nearly impossible on a budget to be able to get a good video card for a build. And that has also caused, because of the processor issue, to be able to buy a processor on a budget. The motherboards are still moderately priced, but when it comes to the processors, it's just crazy out there right now. And I haven't been able to build a computer since before Christmas because of this. Every once in a while, it is harder to find a good deal nowadays. I was able to find one. This has a Ryzen 5 3600 processor in it. And the guy was selling it along with the motherboard. And I saw shortly after the guy posted it on OfferUp, I made the guy a counter offer. He wanted, I believe, 190 for it, and I made a counter offer of 150. So he basically met me at 160. That price alone is what the processor goes for the less. If I was to buy that, without someone being nice to me to sell it to me for a good price, I would have probably paid about $320 for this combo right here. So I got very lucky that this guy was able to give me an offer, to accept my offer, and basically I just got it for $10 more than what I had originally asked for. So everything's in really good condition. This is just fantastic. I'm going to be building a computer for my nephew with this. So I just got to get the RAM, and already have the fan on the way. So I just got to get the RAM and the solid state drive and NVMe to put on here. Other than that, it'll be good to go. He already got, when I was able to buy a 2060 for a very, very low price, which cannot happen now. Let me put it this way in perspective. About 3 months ago, I was able to buy a 2060 for $200. Now, that very same 2060 video card will run me over $400. $400 if I'm lucky. Same thing with my 2070 Super that I was able to get. I got it from a guy that got a 3080 and managed to get it from a retailer for retail price. So he was just happy that he was able to get a 3080. So he was willing to let go of his 2070 for a reasonable price. So I was able to get it for under $300. And but now those very same cards minimum $500, and that's because the 30 series are so hard to find that it's driving up the price on everything that came out before that. So right now it's a really tough time to build a budget computer because the budget aspect of it has completely gone out the window. So my suggestions to you, if you're building a computer, be vigilant on the posts online to where someone local, don't do this shipping thing, someone local posts a video card or a processor for a very reasonable price. Hopefully you'll be able to get them right when they post it, just a couple of minutes after, to be able to catch that deal. But those have become very few and far in between. So I got really lucky. I was able to get this one. A video card in the foreseeable future, I don't see it. I don't see me being able to get another video card like I've been able to get in the past for at least a couple of more months. Worst case scenario, September. That's around the time where some of the other YouTubers that build computers are predicting that things might lighten up to where supply of the new video cards might start to meet demand, thus causing the previous generation video card prices to actually start going down again. So one more thing I want to talk about. This is going back to the Game Boy Color. One of the other things I was doing with these is I was able to get a hold of quite a few games for these. But a lot of these games take a battery, so whenever the batteries have long died on these. So whenever you're playing a game, you can't save your progress because the moment that you turn the power off and you turn it back on, all that progress doesn't save because the battery on these are dead. So I was able to find replacement batteries which are bigger capacity and open these up and replace them. And the reason I have this soldering mat is because this is what I used. So I open it up, I put my parts in here, the screw over here and everything. These are really, really cool. And this was $6 on Amazon. And they're resistant to heat, so they don't melt if your soldering iron just hits on. I think if you keep it on it too long, it might actually warp it. But as a rule of thumb, you don't do that at all unless it's something you want to melt, like your solder on these. So I was able to replace batteries pretty much on all these games. There's a couple that I missed that I got to get back to and replace the batteries. But other than that, the battery works great. The games save their progress. So I'm able to play these games and come back to them a little later and take off where I left off, or at least at the beginning of the last save point. So I think that is it for this installment of RJG Games. I think I covered pretty much everything. Oh, one more thing. I've had this for about 3 years, and it's funny because I was talking about old media, like the Laserdiscs and stuff like that. Well, I kind of wanted to touch on this right quick. This is like the very first, and talk about portable media. I think around the time that Apple released the iPod, when you being able to take video with you, these came out for the Game Boy, and these are actual little episodes of TV shows. Like, for example, this was Yu-Gi-Oh! And you'll turn it on. You were able to see I believe this had 2 episodes: Friends Till the End, Part 3, and Friends Till the End, Part 4. I just got to find Part 1 and 2. But I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's the video, actual video of an anime right here on a Game Boy Advance. So, half the box, it's like, when I first got this, I got this in a big box with a lot of different stuff, primarily accessories for consoles. And this was buried in there, and I was like, I didn't even know these came out back in the day. So that was pretty cool. So I wanted to share that with you guys. So you might remember that Game Boy Advance video. One of the very first ways to carry video, carry your favorite TV show with you on the go. So that was pretty cool. So guys, thanks a lot for watching this installment of Retro J Games. Big shout out to my friend from Cosplay in America for mentioning the 6th episode we put out where I talked about conventions. So I'll put a link so you guys can go ahead and follow him. A lot of good content on Cosplay in America, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Check it all out. It's pretty awesome. So guys, thanks again for watching. Take care, be kind, rewind.